It may be October in Scotland, but the sun was out for the start of the final day's play for the Stephen Gallacher Foundation Trophy for under 18 boys and Vase for under 18 girls at the magnificent Macdonald Cardrona Hotel and Golf Course just outside Peebles. Sunny it may be, but the course was playing long, and at nearly 6,200 yards for the girls and 6,850 for the boys, those looking to top the leaderboards would have to be at the very top of their game. So, heading into a slight breeze up the first couple of holes, let's catch up with some of the action from the girls. Glasgow's Sophie Murphy shared the halfway lead, with North Berwick's Grace Crawford seen here starting her second round, with Freya Russell making up the final 3-ball just one shot back. Up to the second green, and Rachel Matheson from Aberdeen, who also started round 2, just one shot off the lead, with a nice chip here to help save par. But a few bad holes would cost her later in the round as her challenge faded. 4th place in the end for Rachel. Megan Docherty was also just one shot off the lead, starting round 2. A nice putt here for her par at the second. This long playing course perhaps going to suit the long hitter from Bishop Briggs. Coming up behind now, the final group, and Grace Crawford's approach. Nicely at the flag, but just running on a bit, and she would have to settle for a par. Sophie Murphy's approach here, from higher up on the sloped fairway, coming up to a raised green. And nice stuff. But that birdie putt would also stay out, and she would also have to settle for a par. And in fact, it was pars all round for the final group. This for a 4 from Freya Russell, holing out nicely. So we can move further out onto the round and up to the 10th. Now, Sophie Murphy was through the green on this long par 4 in 2, but her short game was beginning to let her down just a touch. A bogey here as she began to drift away from the top of the leaderboard. Grace Crawford was safely in for her par though, and stayed leading the pack with 8 holes left to play. Megan Docherty was keeping up her challenge though, taking the safe line with this approach on the 15th for par 4, and that would lead to a 3-putt bogey on a hole where many of the players were struggling to make par. No such problem though for Freya Russell. The golfer from Royal Troon had the pace of the greens just right, as she kept her outside hopes of a victory alive, although holes were beginning to run out. A nice 4 here on 15. Grace Crawford would leave her birdie attempt short though, meaning that she would take 3 to get down for a bogey. A chance still perhaps for those chasing her down from the pack. Up to 18 now, and Orla Rooney from Cowglen with a nice chip onto the green just from the edge of the water hazard. It would be a bogey though for Orla, and she would finish in 5th place. Megan Docherty had another long putt to contend with here on the last. Great pace though, nice judgment, and a par to set the clubhouse target of +9 for the tournament. 5 shots better than our opening round, and in with a real chance. So only Grace Crawford was in a position to match that total if she could par the last. This was her 3rd shot, and into the heart of the green. That putt would need to drop. Well, despite mixed fortunes for today's round, Sophie Murphy showed a nice touch of class here at 18 with her 3rd shot. Get that. And a par to finish, 7th place for the golfer from Glasgow. And speaking of class shots, how about this for a putt from Troon's Freya Russell? A very nice birdie indeed to make sure of 3rd spot for the tournament. So, could Grace Crawford match Megan Doherty's total by sinking this par putt on the last? Certainly a good attempt, but just running past the left. A one-shot victory then for a delighted and grateful Megan Doherty.
I kind of knew I had a good score going, so just try par, birdie the last, and ended up with a good first putt for a par. So obviously everyone's a great player, and it was a tough competition this week, and I'm just glad to finish first. Yeah, it's great for everyone. Both the foundations and the junior tour are especially good, putting it on. Especially, I know for the golf clubs it's quite hard right now, and it's good that even Cardrona is able to host it for us as well. Very appreciative of it.
And so now to the Stephen Gallacher Foundation Trophy for the boys, and straight up onto the first green where Lachlan Reynolds was starting the day in third spot, 2 shots off the lead after a level par round on day 1, and a great birdie for the golfer from Rothsay, and he was off to a flyer. Just nudge that in. Up now to the par 3 fifth. And here we have Rhys Sim from Aboyne. He was also looking to improve on his overnight placing of tied 4th with a birdie. The putt stayed out, and he would struggle to stay in touch with the leaders as round 2 progressed. Back down onto the tee here at the 5th, the par 3, and Callum Dawn from Nairn. Well, he'd started the day in 2nd place, just 1 shot back. And this tee shot was a great effort as he struggled to try and get a good score going. Look at that. Impressively close to the hole. That ball landing with a pitch mark we can zoom in on. There weren't too many more highlights on the day 2 for Callum though. The third member of the final group was halfway leader at 2 under par, Cormac Sharp. One of a number of talented golfers from Blairgowrie, holding his nerve well here to see home a tricky par putt. Up to the 10th, where the cameras caught some nice approach play. Like this shot here from Robbie Main. What about that? Beautiful stuff. Starting the day 4 shots off the lead. Could he make a move on the back 9 to challenge the leaders? Well, he would have to stay ahead of playing partner Callum Scott, who, despite missing his par putt here, was putting together a good score after a solid 1 over par first round. But the golfer making the most progress was Blairgowrie's Gregor Graham. Having worked a lot in his distance recently, he was enjoying using his wedge to great effect early on to climb to the top of the leaderboard, after also being 1 over at the start of day 2. A nice birdie here and a divot big enough to practice his putting on. Nicely replaced. Playing partner Cameron Adam, well, this was his putt for birdie. Nicely in, but he would struggle to get going as well on day 2 and would finish tied 6th alongside Ruben Lindsay. The final group again, and Lachlan Reynolds, well, he was still going well. This was his approach to 10. And very nice, although that putt wouldn't drop and he would have to settle for a par. Not the case for his playing partner Cormac Sharp though. He saw in his birdie putt to stay part of a leading group of 4 or 5 golfers, all within a couple of shots of each other, at the top of the leaderboard on the back 9. At the long par 3 11th though, we saw one of the best putts of the day from Lachlan Reynolds. In. How about that for a birdie? Still very much in contention. And, well, not to be outdone, here's playing partner Callum Dawn. Another great birdie too. Lovely stuff. Well, despite having the best tee shot, Cormac Sharp couldn't match that and make his way over to join the birdie club. But there were a number of impressive finishes up at the 18th, and perhaps none more so than Samuel Mukherjee. Look at that. Well, he finished just inside the top 20, but a birdie to be proud of at the end of the tournament. This is Archie Finney, and he would also hole out for a spectacular birdie on the 18th, putting him just inside the top 10. Tied 9th, that's 6 over par. There are some tricky greens on this course, and perhaps none more so than here at the 565 yard 14th. Just look at this approach from Callum Dawn as the sun came out late in the afternoon, rolling down away from the hole on that slope. And well, the reaction up there in the background, well, that says it all. Callum would have to settle for 8th place with a 5 over par total. Cormac Sharp still had a chance though, out in the final group. Here holing out for his par. Vital to stay in touch with the other leaders. Back up to 18. And here we see once again from Royal Burgess, Robbie Main, and another spectacular putt dropping for his birdie. Good enough to finish 3 over par and in 5th place. A good solid weekend's work. Well, Callum Scott was the man setting the clubhouse lead though from this group. Level par the target, after the man from Nairn saw his birdie putt just slip by. And again, the reaction tells you a lot. There was a few putts just slipped by. He knows the score could have been better, but level par, the target for the other golfers. Although almost certain to better that total though, in the group behind was Gregor Graham. Here, another solid approach to the green. If he could convert this birdie putt, he would be posting a total of 3 under par for the tournament. Wasn't to be. 3 under par for his second round though. 2 under par for the tournament. And the man to beat. Well, he wasn't sure whether that would be good enough at this point. As it would turn out though, it was good enough. Lachlan Reynolds had this birdie putt to finish at 1 under in the final group. Look at that, well, doesn't that just sum up golf sometimes? Less than half a turn needed to see that one drop. Well, that meant that his level par total could be matched by Cormac Sharp if he could convert his birdie putt, which he did, a tie for second, and the under-16 Bobby Johnson trophy. But let's hear from the winner.
The first few holes I drove the ball really well, and I was hitting a lot of wedges quite close. I had quite a fast start coming off, quite a few birdies the front 9, and I was like just kind of trying to keep pushing into the back 9, and I kind of had a couple of loose shots coming into the stretch for the last few holes, but I was able to kind of make some steady pars in and finished off with a decent score, so I'm quite happy with that. I play against these guys every week, and it's always like we're always pushing against each other, and we're always wanting to beat each other, and it's such a friendly competition now with these guys. I love playing against them and compete against them, so it's always nice beating them a couple of times, and they beat me as well, so it's a lot of good fun. It's just so good that we're able to play again. It was quite hard when we weren't able to play at all. It was just not fun at all, and I appreciate the guys so much for letting us play.